What's up, everybody? This is Kenny Cummings here, chilling with Kenny C, right here on tmvcafe.com, bringing you entertainment to your ears. Joining me at this time is a regular guest on the show with some Kentucky ties, residing in Texas. He's been working on some new music. He's released some multiple singles this year, including Too Many, Redemption, and Bleeding. And he's got more songs on the way. He's got more music on the way. I'm joined with the homie A.R. Green. He's back on the show. What's good, man?
Just living the life, or at least trying to, you know what I mean? Just kind of been in the lab pretty much for the past couple of months every day. So it's been a lot, but kind of just chilling though.
Well, that's definitely good to hear. You definitely have been in the lab, like literally, man. You definitely been constant with the music. So with that being said, man, how are you feeling about the music you put out, including these three songs you put out thus far in 2024?
I definitely feel pretty good about it. Bleeding is kind of like the precursor of the life of me. But Redemption was like I'm back to it, bro. Like I stepped away for a little bit, rapping, but we getting back to it this year. And that's kind of more of what that record was. And then Too Many was just a nice little collab or whatever, make a nice little track. But we got some serious heat in the works. Like I'm dropping a single with Fireworks from Lexington in
Okay.
2 weeks. Uh, and then I'm sitting on a collab with Big Bono from over there in Lexington as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got some stuff in the works, and we're gonna make some noise here in 2024.
Oh man, so you was at Lexington a while back. Um,
Yeah, yeah, a couple weeks
so
ago.
you caught up with some friends and hanging out there. And, shout out to Vano. I know him through another artist in River Green.
Yeah,
they very constant with their music as well. So, um, from like from what I've seen and from what I've heard, um, you are leaning towards the full length project at some point this year. That's what you lean towards.
I have a project coming out this Friday. The Life of Me. I've been working on this project for better part of a year now.
Yeah.
Um, it originally started as a different project, then kind of veered off into a different direction. So we got that dropping this Friday on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, etc., etc. And then we're halfway through another project and three-quarters of the way done with another project. So y'all gonna get three projects from me this year.
Good grief! Three full length projects for Green. Yeesh.
Whenever I said I've been in the lab cooking,
Yeah.
I've been in the lab cooking.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I've
have.
been cooking.
So the Art of Me, the first of three, is coming out this Friday
Yeah,
on
the
all the
life of
platforms.
me. The
On the
life of
Life
me.
of Me, the Life
Yeah.
of Me, that's coming out this Friday. So be on the lookout for that. So you mentioned Vano. You mentioned you got any collabs from fellow Texan artists or
I
fellow
do.
Kentucky
So
artists?
on this project that I'm dropping this Friday, it's got collabs with Country De La Rosa. He's from the West Texas area, very well known and respected. Also have another feature from EMAC. He's originally from Abilene but lives in the Lubbock area. I have CJ Chu. He lives up in Vermont. He's on a track on there. And then Radar Theory from Abilene on this
Okay.
project as well. And then the next project will have more features from Kentucky and other places.
Gotcha. Shout out to Radar. Shout out to the Texas man, ATX area
Yeah,
specifically. I've been linked up. I'm pretty much linked up with them for the last couple of years now because of you
yeah,
and Tavion Marshall. So man, that scene is looking pretty good out there. Like artists constantly working. So
yeah.
it's good to see, especially for the indie artists out there, and it makes other artists want to step up too from that area. Like, I
Thanks.
need to do something too. So I think that's usually what it takes. Like when you see people work, it makes you want to work as well. So
Yeah,
and work on fan base. You've been putting up some big numbers, some streaming
yeah. Some
numbers.
big numbers here recently.
So and this is coming from an independent artist, obviously. So you got people really rocking with your music, man. So
Yeah.
I mean,
People are rocking with it. They're watching. It's all about just maintaining and just
yeah,
creating that next one that's going to take it to that next level. And that's what I'm looking for right now and trying to get out of myself, I guess you would say.
yeah. So man, as far as that's good, man. Like, cause I've been following your music for a while, and when you was in Kentucky, and then you moved, relocated back to Texas, um, and you've been networking with people and making moves there, showing people, hey man, AR Green doing it, man. So
Yeah,
and the hard work speaks for itself. So I mean, it's a good time for independent artists.
it really is. It really
Constantly.
is.
So, and it feels like, just Killer Mike, for example, he won a Grammy, three
Facts.
Grammys as an
Facts.
independent
Clean house.
artist.
Wept
Clean
them.
house.
Wept
And,
them.
just that dude, you know, we grew up listening to that dude when
Facts.
he was on the
Facts.
whole world, Outcast, and then
Yep.
he thrived on his own. He had won the jewels. But man, that Michael album, like people was waving. And the thing is, people was waving about that project. Like before the
Yeah, I mean, I
nomination.
enjoyed it from start to finish. Like
Yeah,
whenever it dropped, I listened to it the same day it released because I've been a Killer Mike fan for years. I
yeah,
mean, he's part of the hip hop culture. I mean, if you do any research on the hip hop culture, I mean, you come across his name. I mean,
yeah,
you come across his catalog.
yeah,
So
man.
I I didn't agree with the flack that it got after he swept the Grammys. I
Yeah,
don't agree with the just with the hate about it. Like the man earned it. I mean, he put out a great piece of work, and it needed to be awarded. I mean, because honestly, nobody else putting out albums right now, man. It's everything just singles.
yeah. I mean, Killer Mike is just someone and the thing with Mike is he stayed true to himself this whole time. He never changed. He never wavered. Like he's been the same dude that he's always been. Very unapologetic and just
Mm-hmm.
say what he feels. And some people feel like they have to go to a change or go a different route. Killer Mike was like, nah, this is who I am since the whole world. This is what I've always been. And hey, it took a while to get this respect, but hey, better late than never.
Yeah,
So Queen, and this is a very rare thing that an artist, a hip hop artist, will win all three of those categories.
yeah.
That's a
It's very
rare thing.
rare.
Not
It's
even the
very
big
rare.
names, not even a J or a M or or Drake or Kanye or anybody has did what Killer Mike just did. So
Yeah, I mean,
that
it
speaks
it was
volumes.
just it was a special project, and like I said, it needed to be awarded, and
Yeah,
it showed at the Grammys, and people take you know the Grammys kind of out of context sometimes, kind of conspiracy theories or whatever, but
yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, he's one of the most well-respected artists and figures in the culture. Like,
yeah.
you can't hate on it.
Nah. So check out AR Green's new project coming out this coming Friday. It's the first of three projects he's coming out in 2024. So with these interviews I do with AR Green, of course we talk music, we talk what's going on with his music and things of that nature. So support the homie, man, and check him out. Um Now we get to some football chatter.
Get to
Uh
it. Let's get to it.
so
Let's get to
man,
it.
you in a good mood. You in a good
Oh,
mood.
I've been in a great mood since about 3 o'clock yesterday.
uh
I've been in a fantastic
so
mood.
you know what? We'll just address the elephant in the room. Uh so prior to you guy, Mike Evans signed quote unquote we signed with
Right.
Tampa Bay. Um he's been one of the more consistent wide receivers of
Yeah.
this generation. It doesn't matter who's throwing the football to him. He's an automatic 1,000-yard receiver. Winston, Brady, and Baker now. He's had a
Yeah.
1,000 yards nearly every season. He doesn't really get the respect that some of his peers get for whatever reason. But he's always been that guy. And I'm saying this as a Saints fan. So hey, anybody that puts in the work and then gets the money, I'm always going to give props to that person, regardless if I like the
Thanks.
guy or not. So Evans, he got his money and he built a good chemistry with Baker. Tampa looked at him like he's our guy. He's our right number one with target. So take care of your peoples. Um, and most teams don't do that all the time.
No.
So for Evans to get his money, props to him. Now, as for the quarterback that throws the football to him, he bet on himself, signed a 1-year deal. After everything he's been through with the multiple teams and coordinators and coaches, and then he did what he did, led the team to their third divisional title, much to the chagrin of my Saints. But and we had a back and forth. It wasn't like any animosity over it, but
Oh
hey.
no, it's always all love on this side. It's always all love.
Yeah, we had a moment, but Baker, he signed a 3-year extension himself. So Baker and Evans, they are teammates for the next 3 years. So this has to feel good for you. Now, you're not a Buccaneers fan. You are a Baker Mayfield fan dating back to his days with Oklahoma. So how do you feel about the resurgence of Baker Mayfield, the resurgent season that he had, in which led him to signing this 3-year deal?
Um, I think for him, it was all about the validation of him being a starter and him being able to compete in this league. Um, and he finally got to show that, once again, having some stability. Yes, there was a lot of speed bumps down, in the middle of the season, trying to get that offense really clicking, and it just wasn't gelling at the time, or people were understanding what the scheme was. But I couldn't be more thrilled for my guy. Like he found a home. He found somewhere where him and his wife are welcome and feel comfortable, and that organization fell in love with him. The fan base fell in love with him. I mean, when he balled out, he balled out. Like, I mean, that's all you can ask for any quarterback you bring in to replace, the GOAT. Those are big shoes to fill, and then he had better numbers than what Brady did in his last year. I mean, which is, kind of cliche to say, talking about someone's last year numbers, but we're talking about the greatest of all time, before he hung him up. Uh, but I think that this coming year, he's still gonna have a chip. I think he's really gonna fuel this next season off of what happened in Detroit. Left a bad taste in his mouth. He knew he was right there. He had one drive. I think that's what's gonna get him to that next level.
So Baker is there for 3 more years. I think he was a candidate for comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
So Tampa, Todd Bowles, from my understanding, when Baker got there, and he was asked about Baker, like what was the talk show had when he first signed with the team, given his previous seasons. Like, did you want him to change? And then Coach Bowles said, "Nah, we want Baker to be Baker. We want him to be that guy that can produce,
Yeah.
that has the chip on his shoulder." So, you know, Bowles, he had Brady, Bruce Arians. He's definitely a good dude.
Yeah.
When Brady retired, he just gave him the keys. I mean, he gave him like, "Hey man, here, let's see what you can do." So he's very fortunate that
Yeah. I mean, he was left with a very good roster.
yeah.
Granted, it was on a little on the older side, and you see a couple people getting traded off today
Yeah.
with the opening of tampering. But for the most part, like whatever Bruce Arians gave to Todd Bowles was a really solid core foundation to build off of.
Yeah.
And a lot of head coaches don't walk into something like that.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
So while we are divisional rivals, technically, we saw a divisional rival did a thing today. Kirk Cousins is now on Atlanta Falcon. And I must say, he must have the greatest free agent, the greatest agent of all time. Because
I was
somebody,
just telling my brother that.
he must have the greatest agent of all time. When teams keep giving him this much money. Now, he was injured, and he's coming off an injury.
Yeah.
He clearly, even, let's just say hypothetically, he might not be ready for week 1 next season.
Right.
So, okay, long term, okay, that's fine. But it feels like after what Baker, signing 1-year deal, like you giving this dude 5-6 year deal, like, and he's coming off an injury, like.
Yeah.
That's why the Falcons are the Falcons. I know my team have their transgressions, but we ain't the Falcons. I'll tell you that right now. But now it's like Kirk Cousins. Falcons, they got pieces. They
Yeah,
always have.
and that's what I was gonna say. Like the Falcons have a really nice young core. They just need the experience. They need to bring in a few veterans like on that defense, maybe one or two veterans on that offensive side that really know what it looks like to win, and get these cats in line, whatever. But you were really only a quarterback away. Granted, you just went and got a quarterback, but you're giving a guy almost $200 million who can't even play a full season. Like, he's going to be out by week 6. He's going to be back on the IR. Like, you're giving away $90 million. Like, I'll come play quarterback and get hurt in week 6 and collect $90 million.
What are we doing here, man? What are we doing with our lives when we could just?
Thanks.
But football's a tough sport, so I don't know. Yeah. It's a brutal sport.
Yeah, it really is.
So it's with these injuries and this next season's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Especially with the South. Of course, I just found out my team just kept D'Amelio Davis. So I'm happy with that. I'm not happy that Dennis Allen is back. My team got the worst coach in the whole division.
Yeah.
So we played it in spite of him. He's lucky that Saints beat the Falcons in the season ender, which cost Arthur Smith his job. And then he gets Jameis Winston for what he did. I'm like, wait a minute, man. We had a winning culture until you got here.
Yeah. And you really did. You really did.
It's just look, I don't love Derek Carr, but he's the best quarterback we had since Brees retired. Yeah. So he's got a new coordinator. No excuses this season. And
I'm just not sold on him, man. Like the car is always gonna break down. Like at some point in the season, you just know deep down it's coming. Like you don't know when, but it's coming.
Look.
Like he's just one of those quarterbacks. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like when he's healthy and on the field, he's great. He's a great quarterback, but he's just so injury prone. Like it's
he was injury prone, but he still played every single game. The problem was they couldn't make the plays for that mattered the most. He played every single game this season. He had concussion, he had back injury, he had knee injuries. He still played. That was the problem when after Brees retired. Winston couldn't stay healthy. We had Book, we had Taysom Hill. We had somebody, Trevor Siemian. Don't get me started with him. None of them could stay healthy, but Carr did. He played every single game.
But you also gotta look how injured he was playing on the field, though, because that plays a big factor on how a quarterback produces.
I get it, man. It's just all I want is a quarterback that could just stay on the field, and he did, but to no avail. Look, Kamara's coming back. I just don't know what's going to happen with Thomas. I think
he's gone,
my gut feeling. He's done.
He's gone.
He can't stay healthy. Goes back to that. We just been bad luck with injuries with notable players. Lattimore, who knows what's going to happen with him? But I don't know. It's just the land of uncertainty and some pieces there. But that is my team. I'm going to stick with my team and just hope that Carr can do better with a new coordinator. And Dennis Allen, like, no more excuses for him.
Yeah.
They haven't made the playoffs since Brees retired. So if things go down south again, then it's time to clean house.
Yeah, I mean,
Allen's
at the end of the day, yeah,
and it starts with the coach. I mean, but yeah, That's NFL chatter there. Collegiately, the realignments are in effect, which includes your Sooners is in the SEC as well as Texas Longhorns, and then there's Colorado back in their conference. There's the West Coast teams going to the Big Ten. Now the 12-team format that is in full effect this coming season. They're already talking about extending it to 14 by 2026. Um, as a college football fan in general, how do you feel about this coming season with the alignments and the college football playoff format going to 12 teams?
Um, I'm terrified as a Sooner fan because you don't know what's gonna happen. We haven't played these teams in a while, so I'm a little terrified about the start of football season. But with the expansion, it's been needed. It's been needed for a long time. You know, pretty much ever since like the second or third year of the 4-team playoff format. And, we really saw, well, this team just, they got shafted. You know what I mean? Just like this year, we saw Florida State get shafted. You know what I mean? Like, granted, the quarterback, went down, but in college football's next man up. It's kind of not like it's not like the pros. Like,
yeah,
yes, you have people who are on a different level, but doesn't mean this backup cannot come in and compete. Like, so I think it's great for the sport. I think it's going to evolve college football into more of a viewership when it comes in to like the postseason. Kind of like how people don't watch football all season or basketball all season, but when it comes playoff time, they start watching. It's going to bring in more revenue for the NCAA. It's going to bring in more revenue for the schools wherever they're playing. Like it's going to be a better sport for it. But whenever they go expand again, like I don't foresee it going more than 14. Like I don't, because then it's just too much going on for that long period of time. Kind of like how March Madness is almost a month long. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it's just
64 teams, 68,
yeah, like
64,
it's a
68.
lot. So but the 12 team, yeah, 14, yeah. Like I'm for it. I'm here for it. We've been needing it because it's any given Sunday or any given Saturday. In the case of college, you can see a 14 or a 12 seed beat a 1 seed or a 2 seed, and they'd break the internet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm for it, man. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the season. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be wild.
So I was okay with 4 teams because every game mattered. And as far as the elite teams, you can't get caught slipping at any
Yeah,
point, or the committee is going to use that loss against you and say, sorry, like, y'all not in. Of course, the expansion was bound to happen.
yeah,
So, and going to 12, I'm okay with it. Then go to 14. At least let's see what the 12-team format can
right.
bring. Let's see what the matchups are. Let's see what the storylines. Let's see what that can bring. Um,
Mhm.
it was crazy with what happened on championship Saturday with Alabama and Texas. And look, I felt bad for Florida State. I really did. Like, undefeated conference champion, but then Texas, they handled their business.
Yeah,
But then at Alabama, they knocked off the two-time defending champions on their conference game, and then somebody was going to be disappointed,
Yeah.
And I feel like and I think the reason Florida State was the odd team out because they looking at TCU from the previous year, like, and y'all lost your starting quarterback,
Yeah, I mean,
I
not
don't know.
not only because of the injury or thinking about what happened to TCU in the Natty, but you also got to look at the conference and the level of talent that's there. Like, there's just not very much to compete with in the ACC. I mean, yeah, they look good on paper, but what's to say they play Michigan and get routed? You know what I mean? It wouldn't be fun to watch. I mean, so I think that's what the committee really took into account was, also what TCU did, but also the strength of schedule and the strength of your conference. Well, Texas won their conference. They had a harder schedule. They played better opponents. Only loss was in a neutral site, but they also won in Tuscaloosa, and they just won their conference championship. So, I mean, there was argument for both sides, but at the end of the day, Texas and then Alabama came with a better resume.
Yeah, and Georgia being out. I mean, TCU, they lost to Kansas State in their
Yeah,
conference game last year, and they still got in. Of course, my Buckeyes, they weren't even in the conference game. They just
yeah,
needed somebody to lose. And I think it was, USC lost to Utah.
yeah,
So thank you again to Utah.
yeah. Shout
And
out Utah. Shout out Utah. We love Utah over here.
yeah. So, I guess we're red, or well, technically scarlet gray, but still similar colors.
Right.
So, thank you, Utah, for that. I mean, it did lead to a competitive Ohio State Georgia game,
It
but
did.
of course, what happened? And now Michigan are the champs,
How
at
does
least
that
for
feel as
now.
an Ohio State fan?
Yeah. So yeah, I lived in Ohio. I lived in Columbus. I've been a fan since the '90s, since Tressel.
Yeah,
First game was at Ohio Stadium. So I've been walking Scarlet and Gray since. Even here in Kentucky, people look at me funny, but that's the team I walk with.
that,
So look, we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see if with Michigan how they're gonna look now
yeah,
that Harbaugh is gone. I mean, we all knew Harbaugh was gonna be gone. And he feels vindicated because he got the his alma mater, the Natty.
yeah,
And you know, Washington looking at themselves like we really want to go to the Big Ten. Like Phoenix is like, oh, I'm a senior. I'm going to the pros. See you later. Um, but it's going to be a crazy season for sure. But I'm curious to see how if Colorado can bounce back. I think the season
yeah.
they
That'll be
had.
interesting.
Look, I like Prime. I'm rooting for him. It's just that his team got the humble pie.
Mm,
Once the hype got a little too big for him, I think Shadur definitely could be a Heisman candidate if he stays healthy. But then we'll see. Was Big 12 now? That Pac-10 was stacked last season. I
yeah,
think people didn't.
they were.
Yeah,
I would have hated to play or
yeah,
coach in that division last year for that
yeah.
conference.
I mean, Oregon, USC, Washington,
Washington.
Washington. There was 5, 6 ranked teams
Yeah,
in the that conference, and it sucked because Now those 4 teams are gone. And it happens, and that's conference had the season in years. And
Yep.
now those teams are moving elsewhere. So I'm like, damn. Like, well, I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Check
Sure.
out AR Green new album this coming Friday. What's the title of the album? Let them know, man. Let
The
them
Life
know.
of Me, AR Green, The Life of Me. It'll be available on all streaming platforms, download platforms, whatever you'll get your music at. It's gonna be
Yeah.
on there. And then we got some more, 3 more singles to roll out after the project this week. We got 2 next week, one the week after. Um, then I got a show out in Denver, Colorado next month. Uh, I got my boy Marshall Black from Kentucky on the show. He's gonna be out there as well with me. It's gonna be a fun time. We're starting to pick up some speed, starting to get out and do some things. So it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have some fun.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Marshall. Shout out to the Kentucky hip hop scene doing things out there. Oh, shout out to Jack Harlow. He was at the Drake concert yesterday.
Oh, was he?
Yes, he
Oh man.
was. He was
Oh
there.
man.
He was just he did not perform. He was just vibing. And Dirk and Drake and J. Cole. I'm walking my J. Cole shirt today. I wore it at work. And yeah, that is the just for future concerts.
That's the
Um
bar. That's the bar.
let's set the bar. That is now the highest gross concert in Rupp Arena history.
There's
Okay.
been a lot of shows there. There've been a
And
lot of
look,
shows there.
I've been to some of these shows for the last decade, but now Drake, Dirk, and Cole, highest gross concert in Rupp Arena history. That's a big deal.
Always making history.
And Drake being a Kentucky fan, that's a big deal.